So hi guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. Today we're going to be looking at Worms Collection 1. Now amazingly this was pre-ordered back in November last year, and finally after a couple of delays we have this in our hands. Now unfortunately this cart only has 3 games included. One of them is actually a PlayStation game and a Game Boy Advance game. Let's get stuck into it. So we have Worms 3-game collection, which comes with the original Mega Drive Worms, Worms Armageddon, which is on the PlayStation I believe, and Worms Blast, which is a Game Boy Advance sort of puzzler style game. Now there are a lot of fans out there for Worms, which is fantastic. I'm not a massive fan of Worms. I don't really mind it, but I think for me at the time it didn't really do a lot for me. I think it was just on the back of playing a lot of Lemmings at the times, and I just felt this was kind of almost like a style like it, and I really didn't want to play any more of those type of games, which is probably a shame. I mean, they definitely have their audience, but for me I think this game and Worms are better played as multiplayer. So I think this cart on its own will come into force better when the VS gets released, because as a handheld single player experience I don't think really that's where it's at for this game. Okay, so here we have Worms, nice looking lovely cart, and instead of stickers this time, we have a lovely poster, which is kind of cool. It's a full blown sort of poster, and that's actually quite a neat touch. I'm not really sure who they're aiming these at. I guess they could be nice, put up on the wall, but as a collector I suppose I'm going to really just fold this back up nicely and keep it in the box. As usual you get your instruction manual, which I would definitely encourage anyone to have a read so you can get a background to Team 17 who made Worms, and have a look at some of the games in better detail, and some of the controls that probably need to be used, because the Worms can be a little bit complicated to control. There's a lot of different weaponry and sort of gadgets that you can actually use. It's definitely worth sort of looking through. These are great manuals, amazing amount of detail considering there's only actually 3 games in the cart, so they've obviously filled this up with lots of guides, which is very important because it can be quite a complex game. It's obviously simple as you need to destroy the other team, but there's a lot more to it than just that. Even a lot of information on Worms Blast, which looks kind of like a puzzle bobble style sort of game. And that's it. So here we go, this is collection... What collection number are we on to? Collection number 18. So we just had Indie Heroes, which is collection number 17. And now we have Worms collection number 18. So let's get the cart into the Evercade. Let's go. Here we go. We've got 3 games. Worms, which I believe is 16-bit. I think it's the Mega Drive game. Worms Armageddon, which is 32-bit PlayStation version. And we have Worms Blast, 32-bit puzzler, which is the Game Boy Advance version. Now, only 3 games, I guess that's a little bit disappointing. There's probably other Worms games we could have probably bundled here, but perhaps due to the sizing of the cart we are maybe stuck with 3 games, which is quite cool. But without further ado, let's get stuck into the games, and we're going to put them on the big screen. Now what will we pick first? Let's go with Worms Blast for a change. I think Worms is going to come more into the fray when you're playing on the VS against another human opponent, because I think playing any of these games on your own is kind of a boring. I guess the puzzle element here is fine, but I guess playing the puzzle game on your own, it's not meant as a single player game. So you need to sort of use the directional button to aim where you want to shoot at. Don't shoot yourself obviously. I think I'm going to run out of time here. It's actually harder than it looks. So I'm just not far enough over here to actually make any dent. I have to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of Worms. Oh dear. I just don't think it's the greatest game ever. Even this one, this is obviously not really your traditional style Worms game, but it's still got frustrating elements, especially the way that the characters control. It's not great. Okay, what am I trying to do here? Be quick. Oh dear. So you've got a tournament mode as well. What have we got? I don't know, let's just choose one random. Don't shoot yourself, I guess. Okay. I get the point of it, but it's just rubbish. I'm really feeling it difficult to actually want to play any more of this, guys. I'm not impressed at all. It's quite tricky to play. There's not really a lot of fun involved here. I'm sorry, I need to move on. So I know these games do have their fan base, but I mean, this is a bit like Marmite game, because one of these games you're either going to love or you're going to absolutely hate. And I'm definitely more of the persuasion I'm hating it more than actually loving it. But let's look at the next game. Let's play Worms, the Mega Drive game. I think it's one of these games that definitely needs a lot of patience to understand the controls. I think we'll stick with a friendly. So you choose your team. I'll go with the boys out the front line. Doesn't really matter what you pick, I guess. But you can actually change the names of all these teams and even the characters if you really want to. So I guess the object is to defeat the other team by destroying them any way you see fit. So you can press the jump button. Obviously you've got a countdown here. I think what's quite confusing is actually the button mapping is really all over the place. I'm not sure if there's options to change that. Let's see. Oh yeah, I suppose you can change the button mapping, which is quite cool. But it's really difficult to know what button is what. They don't really correspond to much what you see on the screen. Okay, so A jumps. I don't know. Okay, that's me just killed one of the worms. And you obviously need to take into account if you are firing, you've got wind. I mean, no, real wind. Let's see if I can sort of try and destroy one of these characters down here. So I'll try and aim to this guy down here. Oh, the wind took it away from it. Arr, how annoying. So let's see. See if we can get a little bit faster. You've got different sort of weapons you can sort of utilise. The one's quite strong, so I'm not sure. Let's see, try and move the direction button to sort of destroy this guy. Need to make it a lot harder. Okay, so that health bar went down slightly there. It looks like an ammo crate or something that's been created. So it's a little bit slow paced at times. I think that's what I don't like about it. It's kind of boring. The graphics are really tiny, especially for a handheld. Trying to actually see them is tricky as. Oh, destroyed myself there. That wasn't the plan. I mean, there is some fun to be had here, but I reckon it's better playing this against a human opponent, not playing against yourself or playing against the computer. I mean, that's really, really dull. Oh, we've got an ammo crate coming in again. Obviously, different weapons you can actually choose, and they do different sort of things. I've got two of them. It tells you obviously in brackets how many you've actually got. Hold down the button longer. Oh yeah, we just took someone out. Anyway guys, I think you sort of get the point. We'll sort of move on. This game isn't really a single player game. It's deadly boring. As you can see, the graphics are so small, it's really hard to see what you're doing. And I find it difficult to recommend anyone to play this game as a single player. But it may come into its fore when you actually play it on the VS, but I'm not really a huge fan of this at all. Okay guys, let's play Worms Armageddon. This is the PlayStation game, which is the second PlayStation game I think on the Evercade. Hopefully we'll see a lot more. It'll be interesting to see what PlayStation games we get going forward. You see graphically obviously there's an improvement already. I think the gameplay is very similar though. Anyway, let's jump past that. So immediately you know you're on the PlayStation when it's looking for a memory card. So what we're playing, single player game, create a new game, change the options, start a quick multiplayer game. Now that's obviously pointless, that may come into its own I guess on the VS. Let's start a single player game, which is not where Worms is at for me. Missions menu, training, I guess you could do that. Deathmatch, play a quick game against the computer, that sounds fine to me. Okay, so here we go. I guess we've got player 1, which is probably me. So I'm guessing that the computer's probably controlling this character. Yeah, so that was the computer controlling. That was extremely slow and dull to actually sort of be part of. I think it would be interesting if you could actually skip that. I didn't mean to press that button. So yeah, it's obviously different, whereas the A button is not the jump button anymore, or the A button is the actual shoot button, so that's a little bit frustrating already. It'd be good if you could actually sort of fast forward the computer playing their move, because it's really boring just sitting watching and waiting on the computer moving. I was looking for a fast forward button. This is the problem for playing this game for me. I mean, it's so boring. I'm just sitting here waiting on the computer deciding what it's going to actually decide to do. Whereas if you're playing a human, you would just tell the person to hurry the heck up. I guess, but I mean, definitely the graphics are certainly much better. You can clearly see that they are worms. I think this game might be better when the VS comes out. Right now, it's just not one I'm going to even be playing any after this until the VS does come out. So, let's see. You've got your character eventually. Don't want to press that button again. So, I got okay now. B's jump. Interesting. B is now the jump button. What have we got? What does Y do? Well, Y's jump as well. And there's all the sort of weapons at your disposal. Interesting. But I have to be honest, I find this game deadly dull to play. And I know, I'm really sorry, I know there's Worms fans out there, and I know there's a lot of people who really love this game, but I've never liked this game, I've never enjoyed this game, and I'm not going to enjoy it anytime soon. But I reckon if you are looking at buying it, I really would suggest you wait till the VS comes out and then buy it then, because right now it's just not fun playing on your own or against a computer. It's more fun playing against a human opponent. So I'll be honest with you, I'm going to put this right up there with probably my least favourite carts being released. So strangely at the time I've probably got the Indie Heroes cart, which is probably one of my favourite carts being released, and at the same time we have the Worms collection, which I'm sorry, I'm going to put right up there as one of my least favourite carts that's been released. I just cannot seem to get myself into it at all. As much as I want to try and love it, I just really don't. Okay, so you hold down the X button here, you can actually scroll along the screen to find out where the guys are, your enemy is. So there's a guy here, see if I can try and sort of aim a little bit to try and defeat him. No, I've shot right past. Destroy my own guys. I mean, if you've got the patience, which I really don't, that's probably my problem, is I don't have a lot of patience to play this type of game. And that's my problem rather than the game's problem. So I can see why people do like this game. But for me, it's not one I'm going to enjoy. And I'm afraid I can't really see myself playing this much longer. So guys, that's the Worms cart. Unfortunately, I don't really see this as being a particularly great cart. Even Worms Blast is probably not an amazing game to play. It's kind of a frustrating control-wise. Worms, I think the graphics are so small it makes it difficult to play. Worms Armageddon is definitely better. It's probably the one you want to spend more time on. But again, you really want to be playing this against a human opponent, and it's not going to come good until the VS gets released. But even then, I'm really not sure I'm going to be spending a lot of time on it. I've never been a Worms fan, and don't see myself suddenly converting to be one. So I think a lot of people are really going to avoid this cart and probably not buy it as part of their collection. And for me, I really just bought it is because you're collecting these carts and you want the numbers to be in sequence and correct. But I don't think I'm going to actually play the game as much. Guys, thanks for watching our video. Please like, subscribe, and we'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.